Well, good morning, Free Enterprise fans, or good afternoon, depending. I'm I'm Starman, joined by. I'm Starman, joined by Nth, and we got a race for you this morning. This is an elimination match between Imperial Dragon and a Euphoric Lemon.
It sure is, and it should be a very exciting race. Both of these players have had pretty interestingly difficult schedules so far. So I'm interested in seeing how this goes because whoever ends up losing today is unfortunately mathematically eliminated from the rest of the tournament. You do need either 3 wins and a tie or 4 wins overall to get into the next round. So there's a lot to play for today.
Mm-hmm. And we have our usual standard objectives: get complete Cave Magnus, forge the Celeber with the Legend Sword and Adamant, and trade away the Pigtail. But we have 2 bonus objectives as usual. And today we're looking for Rosa, and we have to take down our brother Golbez.
So we've got about half the plot of Vanilla just sitting in these objectives today between those two, basically everything but the moon. So if you're a big fan of the sort of properly themed objectives, today is definitely your day. Personally, I was also a big fan of the get Porum 4 times and then cry objectives as well.
Unfortunately, there would not be enough Porums in the seed.
So this is potentially interesting in terms of the objectives, to me at least, because when you see boss hunts, to me you usually want to see one of the easier bosses, and Golbez is not necessarily difficult, but if that ends up in one of the nastier spots and Rosa is, say, locked behind the giant, this could be a bit of a difficult ride for them.
Well, Golbez is usually a fairly free fight. It's just a long fight because you have to sit through his entire script. If he's in a spot where he can, 50-50 you and he chooses correctly, you're going to die and have to set up for the fight. So it's I bet our runners are hoping to get the other objectives off the table rather than deal with Golbez.
Yeah, and, obviously when you see guaranteed Rose in the seed with a guaranteed Cecil start, you're like, okay, my party at the end of the game is going to be fairly decent no matter what, because if I can find that Rosa, I already have 2 incredibly good characters to center around. I just sort of need to find the 2 more good pieces and someone to mess around with agility.
True. Although with enough HP, I do believe the Golbez spot doesn't have that much magic. That Rubicon spot doesn't have that much magic power. So, and we have a Cecil and a Yang to start with. 2 and a spoon. Goodness.
Yeah, that spoon come in very handy if they happen to find an Edge or an Edward along the way. I always like seeing the spoon early because I feel like it creates that decision when we have the spoon flag enabled between, if I see an Edward, am I going to keep him and try and make Spoonward work, or am I just gonna go ahead and not bother?
And for me, in these sorts of flags, I always try to get Spoonward to work. Even if keep him alive can be a pain. Because he will put out the damage. He'll put out the damages. He'll do more than 1 damage.
Yeah, and Berserkers just feel so strong in this particular flag set too, that having that strong damage that you don't have to mess with quite as much seems like a pretty good option. We do see the Tella behind the Octomam at the Baronin spots. That's a pretty good thing to see so far, although you kind of hope for a little bit more difficult of a boss in that low HP location.
Actually, I'm fairly fine seeing Octomam in spots like that, because that means Octomam's not, say, sitting down in the Fey March, right, to just truck your entire team.
True, although once you get to the point where you have enough blinks, it's a little bit less of a problem, I suppose, as well. That Tella, though, going to be a very good early pickup once they get Ordeals done. Going to give them all the utility they need to get through that early game.
And we have Cure 3s here in Baron. We are probably not going to see people buy them, although they're very useful if you have, like, say, Sid as a chemist to throw during the final fights.
Yeah, I feel like with the Rosa objective on the table, where it's somewhat likely you're going to find the Rosa, those Cure 3s lose a little bit of value too, because you know you're going to have a good, strong white mage no matter what, as long as you find that Rosa on the seed somewhere.
I'm going to point out that Black Sword is huge for this early game party, because Cecil that's his strongest sword at this point. Cecil's not a very strong knight until he becomes a paladin. And then he becomes, probably the best character in the game.
Yep, you got to go from the worst character to the best character at some point, I suppose, and being marginally less the worst character for a bit will definitely help quite a bit.
Imperial Dragon headed Damsion. Euphoric Lemon also probably headed over here real soon. No, he's leading the back wire pass. No.
Yeah, not really finding too much interesting there. I mean, found a Dancing Dagger, which could be okay if you find someone who can use it early on to just throw it and it does some damage for now.
Cryo Shirt's some value. A Cat Claw is actual definite value.
Yep, Cat Claw with a Young start. Pretty much what you want to see.
You attach enough modifiers to Yon, and he'll actually be starting to put out damage real early. Well, earlier than he does normally.
Yeah, and especially with where he scales so well with levels compared to everything else too, getting him at the start and then getting those items means that he's going to be soaking up all those levels from the boss fights you're doing like that, and you can be a real legitimate endgame threat just through that alone. We're going to see Imperial go up Mount Hobbs here, so we're about to see what that possible third character will be, and it looks like it's going to be a Kane in exchange for taking down Bahamut.
And you know what? That is a trade I'll happily take. That is a character who can equip so much that would trivialize this early game.
Yep, and you got a Kane, you got a Cecil, and you've got a Young so far. You know that you have a Spoon, you have a Rosa sitting somewhere. I mean, this is a pretty good start if you wanted to go Berserk strats later, as long as you get the equipment for your party.
Euphoric Lemon equipping that Black Sword is, well, Imperial Dragon just sits and waits for. Yep, she just sits there and waits for Bahamut to solve himself.
Yeah, and there's no reason to try and take him down there. I don't think that she would have gotten his HP all the way down before the Mega Flare went off anyway, so.
And there's one of the two big claws we are always happy to see in these flag sets. The Ice Claw. The other one we're looking for is, of course, the Thunder Claw. Because if you want one of the best mages in the game for dealing with elemental weaknesses, you go to Yang.
Nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned punch mage, especially when you have all the parts from early on, and a second cat claw as well.
Goodness, that is that will be. Yeah, no, just strap those Yang and watch them go.
If you've ever wanted a seed where Yang is going to be incredibly set up to do well, this is giving Yang all the pieces he needs to really get going at this point.
Like a karate shirt, a headband, a strength ring, 2 cat claws. That Yang is set for life.
Let's see what's at the bottom of Antline here, and it does seem to be Valvalis, which, again, a good thing to see in a very easy spot here, because you know she's not going to be gating anything particularly difficult later on when she could be a bit of a problem.
And at this particular spot, yeah, no, this Val is eminently fightable here. You can just punch her, and she won't actually be dodging a whole lot of your stuff.
Although, you know, I suppose, you know, they're probably both going to have a cane at some point in time, so it's not like she could be as scary in some other spots as she could be there, but still very nice to see this early on. Very easily and quickly through it, and gets a twin heart for the trouble, so that is an objective, and that is, of course, music when we get there as well, so pretty good thing to find at the bottom of Antlion Cave.
And looks like Imperial, yep, she's getting her Monk and Dragoon set up. So, now, that Twin Harp can't be the only thing blocking our way underground. Because, you know, it's behind Valvalis. It could give the hook or Magma Key, but we don't know yet, and we're going to go elsewhere because it's just kind of... Because we have a whole lot of easier checks in that Twin Harp at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a good thing, too, that you know that it can't block underground access. Because if you see a hook route, obviously you would rather have the Magma Key spot. If you find a hook somewhere else, then that's a good second choice. Go down Cave Magnas, see what you can find, see if you can't find a Magma Key down there to bypass that hook route early on.
Yang just already out swinging with those 2 cat claws and all that strength equipment. Once he starts getting levels, he's going to take off like a rocket.
This is good. This is exciting to me. I never see any seeds where Yang gets to succeed, so I just really love this for him in this one.
Euphoric Lemon has gone up, dealt with a dragon, and you never deal with a dragon, and has gotten himself a Dragoon.
About to say I would be interested to see if he goes and loots those chests further down Mount Hobbs. I didn't really necessarily expect he would, but definitely immediately proven that he's not going to. The only thing that I've noticed so far is we don't have very many good pieces for a Kane quite yet. Obviously it's early on, but that's one of those characters where you really need to find pieces to make them work later on, so that's going to be running at the front of everyone's minds as they do their looting.
Mm-hmm. And we're about to see, I believe, who is about to invade the bull.
Ooh, a curse string for sale in Fabul.
Let that curse string go. Oh, no, let it go, but you know. And we see some inventory cleanup. And Imperial Dragon, she decides to skip out on the Thunderclaw.
Now, did she find the Thunderclaw that was elsewhere on her own? I didn't actually notice whether she did or not. She might not think she needs the second one at that point.
And we have Dark Knight Cecil. Don't just let him go. The spot does not do enough damage to be a threat. And this is a good thing. We like seeing Dark Knight Cecil at places like this, because if he's at certain spots, he will absolutely shred your party. Unless you have a very high level Yane, at which point Yane will be alive and be like, yeah, I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, I just have nightmares still. The last time I saw Dark Knight Cecil, I want to say it was the Leviathan spot, and he's going practically max speed and just blows everyone up in half a second. I'm just sort of sitting there like, well, I'm going to have to come back to this later because I do not have the knowledge necessary to get around this.
It's the rat tail, not useful just yet. But if we get that hook sooner or later, we can turn that in for maybe another key item, so it's a chain.
And again, I feel like your general goal in this early game is hope you don't have to commit the time necessary to get through the hook route versus Magma Key to get into that mid game. So any key items that you can find that give you another chance to avoid that will be very helpful. And in this case, if you have the rat tail, obviously if you find the hook, you're going to be turning that in and have another chance of getting away from it.
Buying some Cure 2s at Silvera. One of these things is flags. The flags that tends to emphasize of the lower amount of money is shopping less.
Yeah, I noticed that because the first few times I've tried to practice on these flags, I just went and bought a bunch of stuff like I normally did, and then I got about 45 minutes in and I looked at my money and I was like, oh, I don't have anything left and I've already sold everything. So that sort of bit of harsher decision making is really interesting to me with these flags. Also, if you wanted to get a couple of Iridias, there are a couple of Dragon Whips right at the start of Mount Ordeals here.
Well, those Dragon Whips may or may not come in handy.
I think they sell for a decent chunk at very least, if I'm remembering correctly, unless I'm confusing them with a different whip, which I might be.
At which point they do, they have indeed come in handy. Now I'm going to point out here, Euphoric Lemon picked up that black sword. Therefore, he has a chance of swooning these guards because they don't have the boss bit. I don't believe Imperial Dragon, I don't think she has, though.
Well, I know that Euphoric did have a coffin, so I'm assuming that Imperial has one as well, so she can at least take one out. Did get the life glitch off on that too, so it'll be another good little quick boost of experience as well.
Again, as much experience as you can get onto that Yane as early as you can, the better.
Wouldn't that just be the weirdest little thing in this flag set that really puts emphasis on Cecil being incredibly good if just he got outshone by Double Cat Claw Yang for the entire seed?
I mean, it's for bruisers like Cecil and Kane, they're incredibly good, but they're also mostly as good as their equipment.
So elements here at this Mylon Z spot, a little bit of French vanilla, another pretty good one to find an easy spot too, in my opinion at least.
No, we haven't actually seen good weapons for either of them. And since this element fight seems well in hand, even if we did not quite get the skip, they will be dead shortly. So, let me go for equipment for Kane and Cecil for just a moment here. For the most part, they can equip almost any sword, axes, stuff like bow. Well, Cecil can equip bows and arrows. The main difference there is Kane gets spears and Cecil gets holy swords. And the Holy Swords are usually the big ticket items.
Yeah, and honestly, usually with the cane, I'm not even necessarily looking for the spears as much as I'm looking for a defense sword. So even cane, you know, find the right sword, it's still going to be better than most of his equipment. And some Artemis arrows on the top of Mount Ordeals, but to me, in this case, where you know you have a Tellet, the Baron in, you know you already have a Cecil, the item up here is not the biggest prize.
And we have a CPU. Hooray!
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hope that that boss might be in a bit more difficult of a spot, though. Because CPU is not really a big threat if you know what to do.
The main issue with CPU is a slog of a fight. But you know what? It's dead. We don't care. The orbs are gone. The orbs have taken their vacation.
Yeah, and I kind of feel that, like, with this particular setup of 3 things, as long as they do enough damage to not take a ton of damage themselves, then there's nothing really at this sort of pre-underground part that can really pose much of a threat. So at this point, Lemon and now Imperial have been basically through most everything on this overworld. All they really will have left at this point will be that Twin Harp spot and that Baronin spot for key item checks. So still looking for that underground access, and only 2 places left to find it now.
Well, there's maybe 4 places. It depends on if there's a Mist Dragon, you know, hiding somewhere.
True. But if that Mist Dragon is hiding somewhere at this point in time, where we've seen the other bosses, it does have to be either at Baronin or the Twin Heart.
It could also be hiding in the Watery Pass or you know, in Vanilla spot, or even up on Maga Sisters. And you know, sometimes you just hope for the Maga Sisters spot to be like what's actually getting progress. Because you might be a little bit of a monster like I am about it. Ah, yes. I see, you had to go up there.
I'm always on the fence about that sort of thing, because I like things being cruel, but I often feel like the seeds that are nicer end up being a little bit more of a sort of skill test between our runners, because it ends up being, you know, who can push through this as quickly as they can, as opposed to who ends up making that weird decision first. And we did find Star Veils for sale wherever Imperial is right now. I think she's in Baron. Nope, she is in Mystidia. Very good shop. Star Veils, Thor Rages if you need them, more life potions as well. So it's a pretty good one to keep in mind.
And Imperial, she's stopping at Baron. And Euphoric Clubman's not that far behind. It's time to go in and, you know, deal with what's here.
You know, with this low of HP on this spot, with the Thunder Claws available for Young, this is just pretty free anyway. So you might as well just go pick up your free Tella.
Who is now coming packed with utility spells. This is the real prize here. Utility.
Plague in second spot is interesting to me here because I'm not sure they do enough damage to. I'm pretty sure they don't do enough damage to get it down before that first counts. Now they have to kind of knock someone out, revive them back up. So this is actually a little bit annoying of a spot to find Plague. Not necessarily difficult though.
And that Yane is still putting up very good damage. Just look at him go.
Well, you're seeing two different strats here. Imperial doing the sort of more standard strat, and Lemon unfortunately not doing quite enough damage with that. Just throw vampires at it and hope it does enough damage strat. I really like the thought there. It's a shame it didn't end up working. Our wonderful tracker for today, Possum Morpheus, also pointing out in chat that having that Yang in the back row is definitely not doing any favors to Lemon as well, because getting half damage on all of his attacks right now, because you can't really back row glitch a Yang, unfortunately.
Well, yep, there goes Plague. Imperial Dragon is the first one through, and let's see what she gets. It's a Tella, and it's the Magma Key. That is our underground access.
No rude hook routes today, unfortunately, but you know, they're in good shape. They're both in very good shape at this point, and that does leave that hook sort of out there as well. That rat tail's still useless in the meantime, so that's still got to be at the forefront of their mind a little bit too, is can I get that hook for both half the pink tail objective and also, you know, another chance at finding one of the pieces I need. So Imperial now going to unlock the underground, assuming that she'll probably end up at very least doing those free checks. So we'll see what the Fey March has in store for bosses very soon. I'm not entirely sure that she'll go for Dwarf Castle, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does.
At the very least, I would expect them to make. Well, I would expect her to make a beeline for the freebie checks. So possibly going to check that Frame Arch chest right away. Going to check the Sheila 1 check. Because those are things you usually do not want to leave hanging, if you can help it.
That is a little bit of an interesting question, though, is this one of the places where you might consider taking a gamble if you think you can get through Dwarf Castle fairly easily, if you think you can get through that heart fairly easily, of waiting on Sheila 1 and hoping that you get a pan out of one of those checks. But Coffins for Sale in Tomra is pretty nice as well. Inventory boss in Tomra, less nice.
Ah, the inventory boss. So strong, so powerful.
Interesting to me that she left behind the ice claw there, but I guess immediately finds another one. And we do have Forest Fire Investigator Dwarf today. Also looks like we're about to see our first real divergence so far of the seed, where Lemon is going to end up going to check that Twin Heart spot before going underground. And Imperial now will reset out after finding one of those trap chests in Feymarch, just trying to see what she can open without any sort of danger to her down here on her way down to do that Feymarch check.
Oh, that's a lightsaber. We like that. Because that's about the best sword you're going to pull out of a box for Cecil.
It's a good start.
And a Lunar Bonk, why not?
Now, with Imperial leaving behind the Ice Claws, Thunder Claws, and like that, I have to wonder which way around she's going. Finds another Thunder Claw. Thunder Claw really just wants to stick around no matter what. I have to wonder what this means here. Like, does it mean that she's just valuing that double Cat Claw more than the elemental ones, or does it mean that she plans on getting rid of that young? It doesn't really matter.
Why are we ditching like Dragoon armor? We're about to get the harp, so we'll both be quiet here for a moment.
there are two things worth noting that happened during that. First of all, Imperial found an Earth Crystal from that Feymarch chest, so definitely good that she didn't go to this harp early on, because now if she wants to, she can just park right outside Troya and just go ahead and do both of those at the same time. Earth Crystal, pretty good with both a boss hunt and character hunt on here. Secondly, we do have Vanilla Asura, but also the officer and soldier fight at this king spot, and that's pretty free. So yeah, Imperial already does have that officer down in the back, which means that really is just going to be a matter of waiting for these to slowly die, and if not, they'll just sort of start punching themselves anyways, so this won't be too much longer, so we will see what ends up being at that spot, and it appears that Lemon has decided to go through these Eblin Castle trap chests.
And that's pretty good, because these trap chests can have Tier 7 loot, and that includes crystal swords and Excaliburs. The other stuff we don't really, we kind of care about, but you know, aren't crystal swords and Excaliburs.
Yeah, I feel like the second, consolation prize there is a good weapon for your cane, and then any third prize is really, at this point, kind of just money or good armor piece that'll provide sort of secondary benefits. Yeah, white shirt's not the best there. We really could at this point use some better gear outside of weapons for that Cecil too, so if something like that drops, you're not going to be as happy as you would with the Crystal Sword or Excalibur, but you gotta be at least somewhat happy that you got something that benefits you there. I also did see a Luca key end up coming out of that fight for Imperial, so she's in very good shape for other checks that she can do at this point. Lemon's still going to be a little bit behind on that, although might make up for it if he finds the right thing out of these Monster in a Box checks. Does find the Mad Ogre chest next, so I believe there's only one more after this, so really only 2 more shots left at this point. It looks like Imperial is going to head for the Dwarf Castle next.
Because you may just get 3 objectives just taken off the, table by just 2 fights and a character check.
Oh, D-miss. That's actually 2 key item checks there for this Dwarf Castle.
See, we're going to call this Value Castle now. It has a high chance of value. I was slightly worried about how much of a hit Imperial Dragon can take here.
Significantly less if the Tele goes down like that. You know, with the Tele up, you can at least start getting some blinks down and maybe make this a bit easier on you, but losing Tele first kind of stings there a little bit. Well, we do find a Zeus Gauntlet, which is a good, you know, one of those good armor pieces that we were talking about for Cecil.
And an armor's bow and a samurai, like arms, arrows, and a samurai bow, that is perfectly acceptable damage. Of course, to make the most out of that, you would like to be able to self-berserk. And why is that, Nth?
Because when you berserk yourself, when you have a bow and arrow equipped, it only uses one of those arrows due to a programming glitch. But if someone else berserks you, you just keep using arrows normally. Which is something that I do not in any way, shape, or form understand the mechanics of how or why that works, and think that I probably never will. This Demist fight is not necessarily going great for Imperial. I'd like to see her get that Tele up and start putting blinks up during this mist phase instead of just waiting a little bit. Because once you start getting those blinks up, especially, you know, if you have that Tele already at low health and you get that Cecil up, get a blink on him, then he's just going to keep blocking for him, and it's just not going to do anything, and that would be a very easy way of getting through this if she gets to that point.
That, oh my goodness, at Artemis Bow, if we ever find ourselves some, you know, booze, that Cecil is going to be on a tear.
You know, I feel like Artemis Bow, Artemis Arrows, Cecil's about as good as you can get without hitting that Excalibur or Crystal Sword at this point. Even that Light Sword not necessarily going to do quite as much as that.
We're just slogging through this Demist right over here. You know, there's a blink up on Yang, that's good.
Yeah, starting to get there and stabilize. I think at this point in time, if I were her, I probably would have reset and tried to get a little bit better of a start to this fight, but I can also see the really strong argument for just finish it. My concern right now for her is that she is going to have just that Yang with 468 health going into the second fight after this, and if it's something nasty and she does not get them up, then this is going to be a problem.
I actually think this is a wipe here because I Demist is fast and punchy. And if no blinks up, yep, there goes Cecil. And here goes Yang.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, you get this Demist in just the wrong spot and you're not prepared for it, then you will have a tough time. And she's just going to go do something else right now, which to me is a perfectly valid move. You might as well go do something that you're more comfortable with. Maybe go get a couple levels from doing a couple of other bosses and then come back when you'll have a bit of an easier time. You know, maybe even do that Earth Crystal Tower of Zot chain if you feel like it, and get that fifth character into your party at very least to sort of spread the hits out a little bit more too, which might help a tiny bit. But she's going to go continue checking the freebies at this point. Just going to go talk to Young in the underground. So I presume she's going to go check Sheila 1 right after this. And we're about to see where Lemon is heading. And it looks like he's just going to go boss hunting. Well, we know Ogopogo's off the table for a later location, so that's a good sign.
Euphoric Club and checking these out of the way boss spots just for a Golbez or Miss Dragon, I have to assume.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you might as well. You got very short trip through here. Probably. I mean, he needs to go underground at some point in time, so I'm assuming this is just sort of a last little run through before he goes and tosses that Magna Key down a well.
Aha! There's a Rubicante in the waterfall.
Unfortunately, resetting before leg, so not quite, a valid Rubicante fight to me. And
Imperial Dragon about to give us an encore of music.
Yep. And I have to assume that she'll just combine this with Tower of Zot right afterwards, so pretty smart play on that point. You might as well get these two checks that are really close together done quickly, especially with those two more boss chances to find that Golbez, plus 2 character chances for the Rosa, plus the key item, so that Tower of Zot and these flags where you're guaranteed the boss checks and the character hunts is pretty good. Question to me is, does Lemon go and try and do that Dwarf Castle check early on, or does he just continue chasing down the freebies first? It's looking like he might be going that way, but I think he might just be healing at the pot, which would indicate to me that he's probably planning on actually doing the check.
Very likely at this point. If you're already over here, you might as well stay here.
Yeah, and really no point in healing if you're just gonna go walk down Feymarch and immediately lose all of your HP to the tiles anyways. So that's gonna be the play, and we're also about to get music round 2.
So we'll once again give you all some peace and quiet as Edward plays them tunes.
Now, I was watching that demist fight that Euphoric Lemon is through. Did we get confirmation on what this music is? Because I know that was a big subject of debate in chat. People were pretty sure it was some form of Mario Kart music, but weren't sure exactly which one it was. Oh, Imperial didn't check either, and we do find Antlion at this second spot, but Scala Kitty in chat confirming that it is indeed the Frap Snowland theme from Mario Kart 64, so very good to know.
Antlion. This shouldn't be that, long of a fight. Because this spot only has about 3k HP, and it's actually not as... It's nowhere near as dangerous as the first spot here is. But that is... that is... Oh, we have another Tella here, too.
Yeah, and also where you have this party of all physical characters where you're probably going to be wanting to have that Antlion in a very, very low magic spot. This is what you're looking for. That way you're not having a problem there.
Okay, sorting, and yeah, that's a good enough cleared enough inventory. Darkness crystal from the dwarf castle. That is a big find for Euphoric Lemon.
Yep, and that is interesting to me because I wonder what he does from there, because I have a strong feeling that he might finish these freebies first before we see what that lunar subterranean character is. So it's going to be a little while, but again, another chance at finding those sirens and shops, which we have not found yet. I believe that every other shop so far outside of Eblin Cave that it could be in, it's gone, and we're about to have treasury time.
Great! That's treasury!
Some interesting, if not massively strong stuff so far. That Moonveil is quite nice, though. Ooh, a power shirt right at the end. At very least will be a nice sort of bow on things, ribbon, crystal rings, pretty good. So I'll give this a solid 6 out of 10. Not the perfect run, but not really a bad treasury either.
Could have been better, could have been worse.
Alchemy in chat saying we're on max 6 treasury, but you know, that's why I rated it a 6 out of 10. It is the max 6. I'm taking the max 6 chest to mean that's the most I can rate that treasury as well.
Yep. The most you can rate a treasury is a 7 out of 10. It is known.
And Euphoric Lemon running down to the bottom here of the Fey March, seeing that officer soldier fight, so he's going to go save real quick and tackle that himself. What interests me is, you know, Vanilla Asura is not necessarily the hardest thing in the world when you have a couple Star Veils just sitting there. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries it. It might take a little while, but it could be an interesting thing to try and sneak out early on.
Not a bad idea. And if you have like any sort of like mage crushing equipment, well, Asura counts as a mage.
Yeah, I don't think they do yet. I don't think I've seen any of the good ones, at least. I think the only one I might have seen is I might have seen a mute knife, which is not helpful when you do not have anyone who really uses knives.
I mean, Cecil can use a knife, but you want an edge for that. You want 2 mute knives and like to just unleash edge upon mages.
Yeah, I was doing that. I was doing a seed casually the other day, and I had forgotten that I had double mute knife edge and ran across Asura, and he swung and hit her for 4k at a point in time where I was expecting like at most maybe getting into the 4 digits. So you get that, and it's completely free. The question is right now to me, is it worth the time investment right now to try and sneak it in?
And I think that's something our runners have to answer for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I enjoy doing things that I think I can do if I happen to already be there, even if they take a little bit longer. So I know I personally would err on the side of that, but I'm not in this tournament, so it's not my call. I do want to take a quick moment to note, as we are going into this either Mylon and Friends or Mylon Z fight of the Magus Sisters, to give a quick shout out both to follow our runners on Twitch, as well as a shout out to our behind the scenes restream team today, Possumorpheus on tracking and Solaris on the restream. Make sure you give them a follow, give them some love as well, because we could not do any of this whatsoever without their help.
That's correct. And it's Mylon Z. Goodness, he's not going to last long.
And to me, I mean, that's good. If you want to find a Mylon, you want to find the marginally more difficult one early on in one of these nice, easy spots, because every chance like that, there's still a lot of pretty free bosses out there that could just be sitting up on the moon or in similar spots. So right now, you got to be thinking, okay, I found a lot of the things that can trip me up early on. If I want to do a moon dive, it might not be that difficult.
That'd be correct. And that's a Palom there. I don't know if Imperial Dragon, if she's going to take that Palom. It might be a little late, in fact.
I think it depends on who the second character is here, too. You know, if we see Tella number 3, then yeah, I would take the Palom, especially where I think she only has 4. But if the choice is Palom or Rydia, then yeah, I'm still taking the Palom.
I'm fairly certain that she happens to have some. Well, nope, there goes Rydia. I was going to say that Leviathan someone might change the calculus a little bit, but
So still no Rosa on Zot, and that is lowering the potential locations for Rosa at this point to Package, Sand Ruby, Darkness Crystal, Hook Route, and Baron Key, and Giant. So right now you got to be thinking, okay, I had these 2 chances, it didn't quite work out for me. I'm sort of forced to have this Palom in your party. I kind of expect that she'll end up getting rid of that Palom at first opportunity instead of investing the time and energy into levels for him, but does find the D-Lunars here at the top of Zot.
that Light Sword Cecil should make short work of these if you just berserk him. I wouldn't even worry about the virus counters. They might be dead before it's even an issue.
We are seeing Lemon going for this Asura fight. Imperial struggling a little bit. Unfortunately, these D-Lunars are undead, so using that vampire on them will cause them to just do damage and heal the D-Lunar. Might still be fine, because I think this Young might do enough damage before he gets taken down, but it's going to be... Nope, not quite. Ends up taking a wipe to the D-Lunars there. Very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate fight, but we'll be able to just go right back up there and take them on again. And this time probably will not use that vampire. Should be able to get through it pretty easily. Meanwhile, over on Lemon's side, does have all those blinks up, so really just a matter of punching down this Asura and keeping those blinks up, which with 2 Tellas should be extraordinarily easy. Has the wall on Asura, so it doesn't even really need to heal or anything. Just gonna need to grind down this HP on this fight, and we'll end up seeing what's there, so pretty good Fey March for him. Unfortunately, Lemon only finding a Dragoon Spear for that, which, you know, not bad when you have the Cane, but really, really hoping for something a bit better there. Actually, what's interesting to me that I just noticed is that Lemon has 2 copies of Sylph sitting in his inventory, and to me that also would be a pretty good reason to take that Rydia early on, because even if you don't want to wait through the Leviathan cast, you can make her more immediately useful with no levels, just with that pretty quick Sylph cast, and then you're not wasting turns healing as well, and can sort of gain a little bit of damage that way. So if she has those, I'd be interested in seeing why she chose the Palom over it, but might be thinking that that's through that. Thinking, you know, Palom's better long term. Meanwhile, Imperial on round 2, this D-Lunar fight, not having the difficulty she was having the first time, so really just waiting for the rest of that HP to be chipped away here. Trying to keep that Palom alive, having a bit of a difficult time because he keeps getting punched, unfortunately, so it keeps knocking him out. I think just trying to get some of that experience and levels, and there's a breath, which only really seems to pose a problem to 2 of them, so might be fine. Fortunately, the start vote goes off a little bit late, but the D-Lunar is dead anyways.
And just like that, Imperial Dragon has finished off the Tower of Zot, and we'll see what we get here. In the Euphoric Lemon's case, you have to wonder if Euphoric Lemon's going to be like, you know, maybe I don't need to go up Zot. Maybe they've already done it. If I do it, I'm just chasing after my opponent. I might be better off going elsewhere. And that's the pass. That's...
Yeah, I think in Lemon's case, it's a little bit different because of that Darkness Crystal check still on the board. You know, to me, I would say go up to the moon and see if you find Moon Rosa before you go to Tower of Zot.
We would like a Moon White Mage. Yes, we would.
I mean, at this point in time, you got to be hoping for a Moon anything but Tela number 2 as well.
And a Stardust Rod from Sheila 1. That's, I mean, that's damage, but that's not quite what they're looking for.
I think that's good for her where she has that Palom if she's planning on keeping that Palom long term. I'm obviously Stardust pretty much the best rod in the game for Black Mage, but I'm kind of wondering if she's going to dump that Palom later, whether or not that's going to be really beneficial for her. And it does look like Imperial has chosen to take that one Siren that she found in, I believe it was Antlion Cave earlier, and just quickly pop an egg, get a few levels on that Palom, get a few more levels obviously on Yang and the rest as well, but just try and get quick XP here. And that does at least get Palom up to Virus, so he'll be able to do some damage now.
Looks like Euphoric Lemon is actually going to go check out that Earth Crystal, so there'll be a reward for pass and maybe a Palom or Iridia.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what he ends up doing, because in this case, I'm not sure if Imperial had that Sylph, had anything else worthwhile. I mean, I expect that he'll get rid of one of the Tellas for it, but which one is more questionable to me? And I gotta say, for the few struggles that Imperial had early on, this is still pretty even. I mean, Tower of Zot, not exactly the longest in the world, but realistically, the only thing that Lemon has checked that Imperial hasn't is this Dwarf Castle, and vice versa with Tower of Zot, so this is still a pretty close race right now. So round 2 against this Demist, going pretty okay. Unfortunately, that Tella is down, but not really having a big issue getting through this at this point like she was earlier. So definitely it was wise of her to go and quickly check some other stuff and try and power through this because of it.
And yeah, down goes Demus. Goodness, that Yane is already hitting for like a truck.
I have not seen a seed where Yang gets to be the star in so long that this is really exciting to me, honestly, in ways I can't possibly describe, because like it's a character that you never see used to its full potential because you just don't get the pieces, you don't want to invest the levels into it. So starting with that Yang, getting that double cat claw early on, there's no real better setup for him. Also, thank you to Demarine for that raid. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're enjoy the rest of this wonderfully close race so far. Right now, we're still tied at 1 objective each, and everyone's kind of looking for that thing that'll push them forward. But right now, it's looking like it might be on the moon. Alright, we're about to see what Lemon's party choice is here. Looks like he is going to get rid of that Tella in favor of the Palom over the Iridia. Unless he takes both. Nope, just taking the Palom. And Imperial does have the Darkness Crystal, which is leading to the questions of where do you go from here? Do you go up to that moon and see what you've got? Or do you go for Keyless Tower? Do you go for the Luke shift key down that sealed cave. I kind of feel like there's no strict correct choice here. And it looks like Imperial is headed moonward. So Lemon on this D-Lunar fight going to be not having an issue here with that. Is up that Asura check at this point. I would like to see some divergence here, so I would be very interested if he ends up going for... I don't think he necessarily will, because I do think the moon is the better play, but I would be really interested if he goes and tries and see if like a keyless tower ends up paying off here.
Seems likely to do so. Well, maybe not, but...
We are about to see what this moon shop has, which is the second to last chance we have for shoppable sirens here.
That's not shoppable sirens, but that is shoppable wine, and I'll be honest, with this party, I'm buying I'm buying the entire store.
Yeah, and almost in this, I mean, almost with this party, I'm kind of happier to see the wine than the sirens in some respects, where you know, if you have to do a grind, then you could do doors if you really needed to, but you can't really substitute for that wine.
Moment of truth. Do we have a Rosa on the moon? No, we have another Yang.
Well, just get 2 more cat claws and we're in business. So still 4 more places for that rose to be at this point. Still not having that, oh no, it's the giant moment yet. What I'm interested in seeing is where everyone goes, and it looks like Imperial is going to go for cave value here.
Let's see what she finds at the bottom. I think we're taking that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Free King Queen Evelyn at the bottom of cave value. Let's go. Especially if Lemon ends up fading cave value, which I don't necessarily think he will, but this could be a bit of a tipping point if he ends up doing that with that free fight there.
What? You know, that damage, I don't know how Imperial Dragon's going to survive this. It's a real nail biter.
It's a very tense moment. I am on the very, very edge of my seat right now, as unfortunately they do turn a different shade of bright yellow, and now the fight is over, and she'll get that free experience, which is especially good in this seed where we do not know if we'll have easy access to sirens for leveling and might have to do a different grind, so hopefully something else good out of this as well.
And a white shirt. You know what? Why not? Another one.
I mean, you're probably going to have access to a Rosa later if it's not too late to level her up by the time you find her. Which I think is my real concern for both of them with these parties right now, is right now it's looking like their best white mage available to them before they get anywhere is Tella, which is not great. Oh, Lemon finding Wyvern at the Mirasol.
There's a Wyvern. And that's a wipe. That's fire from the sky. And we're not on Wyvern standard time just yet.
Yeah, I expect he'll just put down the battle speed. Unfortunately, he has to sit through this cutscene again. For those of you who are entertained by the immediate wipe that just happened on Euphoric Lemon's side at Wyvern, you're about to get an encore over on Imperial's side.
Who's about to be who's about to get torched? Who's ready for explosions? We're ready for explosions. And
oh, Imperial headed back to Earth.
That's interesting, actually. There are Earth checks we could do. We could chase at Lukaki, we could go up Keyless Tower. And Imperial does not know that there's nothing behind that Asura down in the Fey March, so she might, fall into some rabbit holes here.
I think that might be wise in some ways, but honestly part of why I'm thinking it's wise is because I feel like every match I've seen in this tournament, Keyless Tower has paid off, so I'm a little bit biased towards it, but it's also looking like she's going to go quickly check these boss locations that she didn't check earlier to try and find that sneaky waterfall Golbez that we unfortunately know is not here. So Lemon unfortunately taking another wipe to that Wyvern. I'm going to be interested to see if he goes to try it again or if he just ends up saying, you know what, I'll check everywhere else on the moon. I'll get back to you later when I have my anchoring situation a little bit better here. So Lemon diving his way down the subterranean now. Gonna go for the rest of the moon. And looks like Imperial is headed for Keyless Tower. Let's see what's at this ribbon altar. Obviously the single best possible check on the moon, and it does seem to be an evil one.
No! Get them blinks going, please. Berserk that Yane. All hands on deck. All hands on deck.
You know, I take back what I said earlier about the moon and having not seen many free bosses, because that, just me saying that, seems to have caused every rude boss possible to show up in these various spots. I'm a bit concerned by the lack of blinks I'm seeing right now.
Maybe this spot isn't as punchy as I remember it being. Maybe this is fine. Maybe that tell just took like not even half his health. It's fine. It's fine.
I was more concerned about it being faster than this, because I didn't remember the spot being quite this slow, but I guess the D-Lunars are not particularly fast.
Oh no, they're particularly fast. It's just... Okay, maybe this is not fine. That was a pretty beefy hit.
This is just very, very touch and go here. It's like one moment it looks fine, and one moment it looks really, really not fine. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Dr. Cossack pointing out in chat that Lemon might not have swapped his battle speed back down from Wyvern Standard Time. Anyway, speaking of those free bosses, there's a Young at the top of this tower.
Cecil's just going to look at him, wait for him to like make a punch or two, and goodbye.
Get your Young emotes and your ouches ready in chat, because it's almost time.
As Evil Wall slowly advances upon the Fear Clemens team.
I'm a bit concerned because I believe he has all three of his current living party members berserked, and that Tella just went down. So if he does not do enough damage, ooh.
That's a vanilla tower key. That's fascinating.
So it looks like Keyless Tower, at least a okay looking play if this super cannon room plays out. If not, then it's just been a big rabbit hole of doom.
I'm just kind of hoping that if Euphoric Lemon doesn't need to take a wipe. Nope, there goes Evil Wall. Woo!
Yeah, I was really concerned after that Telefell with those 3 Berserkers, but, you know, Berserker's just gonna knock everything down. We'll see what the reward is here. Bahamut and a Baron Key.
No, that Baron Key is pretty nice. That's another rabbit hole down on the moon, on the Earth, and hey, we have dolls here. Like that Zeus Rage, just throw that Zeus Rage. Watch him go.
It looks like Lemon's still going to be committed to this moon, which is interesting because that Baron Key feels like it has a lot of value here where we still have that Golbez on the table, so that's 3 boss checks locked behind it. Still have that Rosa, so that's another character check, 2 key item possibilities. You know, that Baron Key is kind of what you hope for in this moon dive if you're not going to get an actual objective progress out of it. Well, there's a Mom Bomb at this plague spot that he's going to reset out of immediately. Seems like he was just remembering battle speed instead, though, which is good, because I really think this is not going to pose a problem once he gets Blinks up, although I didn't think that the Evil Wall was going to pose a problem once he got the Blinks up either, and that was a bit close.
And oh, that's just a whammy. Thank you, Keyless Tower, for giving us hope and then crushing it.
You get your hopes up, and then just doesn't end up paying off. But now going to go down into the Luca Cave, so we'll have chance number 2, and at very least, she doesn't need to do the boss here if she doesn't want to, and it doesn't end up being anything worthwhile.
But she'll probably check out who the boss is, just because it could be Golbez. We don't know.
I've actually had that experience playing on these Swiss flags myself, where I did the Luca key, had a boss check still on the table, and but it looks like she's actually going to do some doors for some grinding here.
Doors, we like these. Where's Demery? Demery, are you here?
And answering the question from chat from Fullwagon, what was in the Super Cannon room and what was the reward? It was dolls for a wonderful Hourglass 2. Which is really great if you find exactly 1 Siren and want to do 1 King Ryu fight on the moon. And another shirt from Mom Bomb. You know, Mom just getting a nice new shirt for her children, ready to go, and now we're gonna go ahead and see what the next spot is.
Oh, Cecil, I was out shopping today and I found the shirt. I think it looked nice on you.
So, gonna head down to that mass immune altar next. So we'll see what that ends up being. Boss fight. Not a lot of rude bosses left on the table. Gotta be hoping for a bit of a break here somewhere.
Well, hello there! Fancy seeing you here, in the Lunar Core or Golbez? What you doing? Oh, nothing. Just feeding my dragon. With your blood!
That is an objective, so this moon is looking pretty good so far with that Baron Key and this Golbez at that altar.
And he whipped 2 of his demolishes. This is relatively free at this point. Just pop Sarvel on whoever survives.
Yep, and you gotta be happy that the Tella is the one who fell there too, because if you're gonna lose anyone, might as well be probably the least important part of your party at this point in time if you're trying to get levels onto that Palom.
And it's worth noting that this spot has really, really high magic damage. Like, absurdly so.
Yeah, Leviathan's Canadian cousin in vanilla is not necessarily the kindest boss fight, and definitely not the kindest location. This is interesting too, because with these star veils up, it's kind of just becomes, you know, Golbez fights himself and you help.
Goodness, is he doing a lot of work on himself, though. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, a normal punch here would just end it. Or a virus. A virus would do the trick.
The question is, does this end up being double value, or does this just end up being the one objective and that's it?
We're about to see. On the Luca Cave side, we have the hook at the bottom of Luca, at the bottom of the sealed cave.
Well, I mean, you could have a hook, or you could have yet another white shirt off of that Golbez. But this has got to be a real good prize for Imperial too, because not only is it half of that pink tail objective plus a character check, but it's also another key item check off of that rat tail if she chooses to go turn that in quickly. And ends up fighting Odin for it, which not the hardest fight in the world. Fast Odin is a little bit of a problem though.
These like 3s are going to hit like a truck, though. The 3s.
I mean, Odin at this spot, you're getting your DPS race boss fight at the Evil Wall spot no matter what. It's just not the one you're expecting. Does get through it very easily with the quad 9s off of that light 3.
As it turns out, Odin is hilariously weak to like lightning damage. If you pop the Thunderclaw on there, it'd also be doing the work.
So gonna take this hook back out of the cave. We'll end up seeing if that pays off. And if that Rosa is behind the hook and is not like duplicate Rosa and Baron, then this sealed cave is hard required. behind Baron in this case, also including if there's a package and a sand group there, of course. Meanwhile, Crystal Sword guarding Dr. Luggage is, an easy fight, but again, one of those ones that you would hope would be in a more difficult thing there. I mean, usually when I go to this Crystal Sword altar, I'm hoping that, hey, the really strong magic boss has rolled itself onto one of the weakest magic spots it can.
And Dr. Luggage here might not be as free in his second phase as you might think, just because if he doesn't die like right away, there is one thing he can do that can like just shadow realm someone.
Fortunately, it does seem like Imperial is going to go back for this Asura, which we know does not pay off, but probably will get through it a little bit quicker than Euphoric was able to earlier, so it will kind of pay off in that sense that if they're both going to do it, she'll have had the faster fight.
And someone's probably about to explode here. It's Toa.
I mean, if anyone's going to explode on this team, you want it to be the Tella.
Please come to the lowest level of the lunar subterrane, where you'll find the finest apparel shops and gold bezes.
You know, I mean, a power shirt's good, but you're kind of wishing at this point in time that your moon is your key items and just not Old Navy. Thing that would concern me at this point is if that rat tail turns into a pink tail and there's a Rosa on the hook route, then Imperial just needs to go fight that Golbez, and Lemon is still needing to chase down a whole bunch of stuff. And if she does, bottom up Moon at that point, she could actually pull into a bit of a lead from that. A lot of that depends on whether or not this Baron plays off, though, because I'm going to assume that after this cave value, which we know is, I believe, was yet another shirt, if I'm remembering correctly. If that Baron does not pay off, that could be a problem, especially if you're spending a lot of time chasing that down.
Time to just have like a nice little chat with King Queen Evelyn.
I almost wonder if after doing all those moon bosses, Euphoric Lemon has enough damage to take the king down before the cutscene, which would be a pretty good thing for him to have happen compared to Imperial's needing to wait due to not quite having enough damage there.
I would say, considering how much HP this spot has, even if you did enough damage to kill the King Queen Evelyn, you'd probably be losing time from all the swaining and spellcasting, so...
It's always sad when you have a telecast weak on himself and he doesn't do enough damage to take himself down because you've got enough white shirts that you've just equipped your entire party in it and it just doesn't do enough anymore. Imperial now through this Asura fight gets her Dragoon Lance. Probably will be seeing that Rat Tail next, I imagine, or the character check. So that's going to be what a lot of this race hinges on at this point. Alright, looks like this Eblin Cave is the next play, so we're about to see if this is the Rosa or if we're down to only four other spots that Rosa could be in that we haven't seen yet.
Package, Sand Ruby, Baron Key, Giant.
So today's forecast is partly cloudy with a 20% chance of Rosa down this Eblin Cave. Probably technically a little bit higher because I don't think we've seen all the dupes yet.
Oh, hey, Sirens. We like those.
Yep. And especially, you know, if she goes and does that level grind, she's sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 key items. If that rat tail ends up turning into a key item, she's at 10. She can just go do her level grind, and that moon's going to be that much easier for her when she goes for it. To answer the question from Peta in chat on how haunted was the moon, we don't know. The moon was an apparel shop, a nice clothing store that had a Baron Key behind it, and there's also Wyvern up there, which no one has gone for it, but it also had Golbez. So far it's one objective, it could be more. So it's definitely not fully haunted, but there's Palom number 2. Oh, I think Imperial might be going up to check this King-Queen spot, which we unfortunately know is not the right play here. Steel G, we do not know the Stan Ruby character yet either. No one has walked into Kaipo to check. So here's the question for me on Lemon's side is, after this Dark Elf check, what does he do? Does he go straight to the King spot and do that? Or does he try and sneak that Odin spot first, where it's a little bit quicker and you can just walk back out and do the king right afterwards without sitting through the cutscene and then walking through the castle again. It's a little bit risky because of the lack of save spot, though.
Yeah, I would imagine that if you're still like a couple key items from go mode, you don't risk it. You just go for the throne. Because you're going to want to clear them both anyway. And if there's something on the Baron throne that can wipe you, well, that just kind of hurts.
Yeah, and honestly, at this point in time, you have to feel a little bit worried, because we're an hour and 48 minutes in, and neither of our runners have completed more than 2 objectives. So at some point in time, you got to be thinking, did I just go down the wrong rabbit's holes here, or am I just like having a rough time no matter what?
It's real hard. Also, hi there, Mylan and friends. How about you all, fall down a deep ravine?
Well, it's a pretty free fight with just that quake off of Palom, and then Young's probably gonna bop him right in the face, and then it'll immediately fall over.
Oh. Oh, no, not even his body. Just dead.
Sometimes you just do enough damage that he doesn't even have time to talk about it. We are gonna see Imperial.
Rosa, it's 4. That's not the white mage we wanted. The longer we move along, the more likely it is that that's the pan from the rat tail. That's 2 key item checks for Imperial.
That could be really big depending on what these key items are, because if that ends up being like Pink Tail and a Sand Ruby, and that Sand Ruby character is the Rosa, then that's going to be pretty big. I think it's going to depend a little bit on what this Baron item is too, on how good that ends up being.
I mean, if it's the Pink Tail and like half a Forge, that is also pretty good.
Yeah. And at this point in time, knowing that the pan is there, knowing that Demus is off the table, we do know that the giant is not hard required, although it might somehow be quicker than trying to find Forge and Pinktail and going down every other rabbit hole.
Package could be Rosa, so we're rapidly approaching the as we've noted, we're rapidly approaching the spots that Rosa could be at, the terminus of them. Also, this forum is just already decked out to the nines. There's the Sand Ruby. All right, we're going to get our we're going to learn right now, right here, probably, where exactly Rosa is.
Place your bets, Chad. Is it Package or Sand Ruby that we're going to see this Rosa behind, or is it going to be Giant?
Well, we're about to find out, as Imperial is sailing all the way over to Kaipo right now. Oh, there's a foo. We like that.
It's a good consolation prize. In this case, the Fusoya is indeed the lifetime supply of rice-a-roni of the seed. You're going to take it. You're going to be happy that you were able to participate, but it's not the winning the game show gear.
We have a Baigan down on the basement throne. That would have been real rude to have come down to see, so I'm certain that, I'm certain that Euphoric Lemon is glad they went for the Baron throne first. Anyway, Quake comes out. It occurs to me that Euphoric Lemon got rid of the resource of Berserk.
Yeah, that is a bit concerning when you think about it. Although I believe they found the backlines as well, so they might not be worrying about that. We're about to see what the second hand check ends up being, though.
And it's the pink tail. That is an objective for you, Imperial Dragon. But it's also the end of the line for Chain.
Which means that we know that either this Baron is required for that package for that Rosa, and the Legend Sword and Adamant are somewhere behind it as well, or which I think would mean that the other one, yep, there's the Adamant. I think the Legend Sword has to be behind that Wyvern at this point, doesn't it?
I don't think necessarily. Let me look at what we have so far. Actually, no, you'd be correct. Unless that package is Rosa, we either have to go fight Wyvern or have to go do the Giant.
Which do you prefer at this point in time?
Wyvern by a mile.
I mean, the other thing worth noting is that Lemon has not gone down that hook route and has not seen that. So he needs to go down that Luca key in order to get that at this point in time. Otherwise, he needs to do the Giant for that Rosa, unless the package did not check the package, though.
I'm curious about that, but okay.
Looks like he's just dropping a save right at that tower so he can reset back to it. Although I think he just saved over it.
And that was not. Well, we know where Rose is at.
The Giant or Wyvern? Question.
Wyvern. Actually, Euphoric Lemon would now be in go mode if he did Giant and fought Wyvern.
Looks like he's going to go check this bed character to see whether or not he needs to come back here if that's the Sand Ruby. I kind of like that. You know, I might as well get the knowledge out of it. Question is, how many of these other places does Imperial end up going, or does she end up hitting on that Golbez pretty early, end up hitting on that Baron key pretty early? With that bottom-up check, you gotta assume that she's gonna find two pieces and maybe even consider not doing other spots. It's a little bit questionable at this point what the right play would be in that location, because at some point in time you gotta expect, okay, it's all shirts down here, I'm not gonna get go mode off of this moon, I'm gonna disappear. So I would not be surprised if she ends up fading that Wyvern as well, doing bottom up.
Yep, hello, Yane again. Hello, Mom Bomb.
we have two different runners in two very different situations where we know everything, and we're just waiting for them to make the right choice here.
Euphoric Lemon just throwing a Thor Rage, and that takes out the dolls.
I'm just sitting here trying to figure out who's gonna be ahead when they sort of reach the point where we know we're at, which is Wyvern or Giant. And I feel like Euphoric might have a little bit of an edge there, but not entirely sure. This is going to be very, very close when we get there. And 2 hours in, again, this match is pretty high pressure already, because whoever ends up losing this is eliminated from the rest of the tournament at this point. Obviously, they can still play their matches if they choose, but can't make it to the bracket phase. So this is gotta be weighing heavy on both of their minds that we're 2 hours in, no one is finished yet, and you're still chasing down ghosts at this point.
Fighting evil walls on the moon.
Oh, this is going to be Lemon's turn to go down into the Luca key.
And they'll put Lemon, once he follows that chain, one step closer to go mode.
Yeah, I think Lemon will eventually hit a point where he has to realize, okay, this pan has something that's worthwhile. The Wyvern has to have the other one, so he'll be hitting that knowledge point very, very soon once he gets that pan out of the proper location. And now that we've reached the 2 hour mark of long rabbit holes and misdirection and shirt shopping on the moon, I'd like to again give a quick shout out to Starman, my co-commentator today, as well as our tracker Possumorpheus and our restreamer Solaris. And please give them a follow. Make sure you follow our runners as well. Both of them putting on an excellent show that is gonna come down to the wire here very soon. To answer the question in chat from Chaos
Doors.
Oh, more doors. Someone called Demarine. It's doors time again. Just to quickly answer the question, Lemon does only have Sealed and Wyvern. We know that Sealed Cave gives the hook, which gives the rat tail, which gives the pan, which ends up giving the pink tail. So we know that that's something. once he has the hook, will know that he can either do the giant for Rosa or that wyvern fight to clear it. Imperial is about to hit this Golbez fight, so she'll have her third objective going there, and having picked up that Baron key as well, you gotta ask, okay, I am at one objective away from go mode. Do I go take those 2 key item checks in Baron and the character check and hope that it lands, knowing that there's only a 50-50 shot of that landing there? Because at this point in time, the only key items left for her are that package. So actually, it's even better than 50-50 of that Rosa, to her knowledge at this point. I wonder how much time Imperial is going to end up making up just off of the fact that Lemon is doing doors because he does not know that those sirens are behind Evelyn yet. Yeah, Imperial with just this Palom alive on this Golbez fight, which is going to go pretty easily for her at this point, as long as that Star Veil does not drop. Is through, is going to get that 5th objective, does get the also backup prize of yet another white shirt. So here's the big decision point, because it looks like she's going to go up to that Crystal Sword altar, and we know off of everything that the only other spot on this moon that pays off is that wyvern. You know, with this door grind still ongoing and Imperial finishing clearing up this moon, this could just come down to that decision for Imperial of, do I do that wyvern now or do I try and hold it off until later?
Before going, having forgotten to turn off the counters. Gets a couple of fights we don't normally see.
the two Screamers, both here playing their invisible pianos in a wind tunnel. Imperial just grinding her way through this Dr. Liu guy fight, not going to pose too much of a threat now that this poison has landed, because can't land another status effect, and I will imagine that he will fall over before he can do anything else scary.
I want some nukes, though. We like that. Just throw out the damage.
That's another interesting question to me at this point, too, is who has the better Z fight when we get there? Because Imperial does have that Fusoya who's able to throw nukes and like that. We know that neither's going to get Rosa, so Lemon kind of relying on getting that Palom or that Porum up for his white magery. It's a little bit complicated, and as was just pointed out in chat by Graceless Gamer, Imperial doesn't necessarily have the best agility setup. Can throw that cursed ring on Fusoya, and that'll probably be about the best she can do. So that could be a little bit of a problem. Oh, Imperial is headed back to Earth and not doing that Wyvern fight. So what a complicated mess of a seed this has ended up being.
Wyvern is at the Pale Dam spot, also known as the Murasame Altar.
To answer J Trigger's question in chat, yes, this channel is the channel for Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. That is all we stream here at this point in time. We also have a YouTube channel and like that, as well as a Discord that you should probably look at and join if you're interested in what you see today. Maybe give a run a shot as well.
This is going to be an exciting Odin fight down here because of just how leveled everyone is with no real anchor. Time to bust out them lightning threes.
Yeah, and he unfortunately only has the one quad 9 lightning 3 that he can drop, so this might actually end up being a little bit sketchier than Imperial's fight ended up being. I don't think it'll be a problem, but
nope,
yeah.
there goes Odin. It's fine. Everything's fine. There's nothing to be worried about. Imperial Dragon. She's headed to go check out the Barren Throne. Is going to find Mylan and friends sitting upon it. They will not last long, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, definitely not. And really, Lemon is going to just be warping out of this cave, will go down that long pan chain and realize, okay, it's Wyvern or Giant. Yeah, Imperial, very, very unsurprisingly, not taking that forum this time. While we're sort of going down these random holes, it's a good time to quickly mention that if you've been enjoying this race, which slowly reaching its conclusion here, as unfortunately it has turned a little bit into randomizer spaghetti, that there is another one at 7 p.m. here on the Free Enterprise channel between Lord Bobbery and Plasma Kappa. There's also one at 8 p.m. Eastern on Randomania 4 between Bad Karma and McBain, as well as yet another one at 9 p.m. Eastern here on Free Enterprise between Stone Dingley and Golden Hades.
Well, hello there, Edward. Forgot about that. You know, if you got that package early enough, you had the spoon, I would consider sitting through that cutscene. Just because that is like, you know, that is power right there.
Sometimes you just gotta do it for the memes too at this point, because, you know, you're not gonna get that Edward to the point, but you can say that you had Spoonward in this seed if you do it.
Alright, Euphoric Lemon finally has all the knowledge he needs about where Rose is at. They're probably about to turn in that rat tail and then... Yep, get the pan and get the pink tail and realize they have an option here. Do they go for Wyvern, which might not be very reasonable if they're party levels, or do they just do the Giant?
I think part of that has to do with like the calculus of what bosses are left that could be on the Giant, because we know that one of those blue robe sprites is on the hook route, so there's a slightly less chance of having Gauntlet on the Giant. There's also a slightly less chance of having Water Hag on the Giant, and there's still pretty easy fights left. I think about the only really difficult fight that we haven't seen that could throw him a problem at this point would be the Kinatsu. Once Imperial goes through this Baron spot, if she does the King spot first, then she will actually know that there is that choice of Wyvern plus other boss or Giant, two bosses there. So the equation will actually be a little bit different for her because she does not know what the two bosses are on the giant. Although actually that is the adamant. I thought she would gone through the king spot. My mistake. My brain has melted a little bit while going through this seed. As I would imagine our runners have a little bit as well, because this has definitely been a very complicated situation. All right, it's decision time.
I have to imagine they're going to the giant. You know what? I love to see it.
I don't know. I mean, that wyvern fight's gonna be pretty easy if you get that star veil off before that mega nuke, but I can see a situation in which the giant might be faster.
I think it comes down to an anchoring situation for both of our runners. As Euphoric Lemon is anchoring off a level 45 Cecil. And Imperial Dragon is currently, well, she's currently anchoring off a Fu. We have found Mist Dragon. There's no Mist Dragon. In fact, there's a lot of free bosses left on the table. Dark Imps are still out there. We've seen both of the Baron Guard sprites.
Water Hag's still out there somewhere.
Water Hag, it could be here. Oh, Dark Imps are at King Queen spot. Never mind. Imperial Dragon trying to decide if she wants to save and is going for the save spot.
Oh, actually, this is a bad play if I'm thinking right, because if either of these ends up being Kenatsu, but ends up being Leviathan, so if that other spot, I believe all that's left is Kenatsu, Alt Gauntlet, and Water Hag.
Well, it's time to get the party bad. So mad.
Is this gonna be the ultimate meme in the end? Are we gonna get Alt Gauntlet at CPU spot to close out this seed? I don't know, Imperial's a little bit ahead going into this, and I almost feel like she has a little bit stronger of a party too, so this could be the end here, unless something goes wrong for her. To answer Plumerian Knight's question in chat, the three bosses left for CPU are Water Hag, Alt Gauntlet, and Kenatsu. And we know that one of Water Hag and Alt Gauntlet is at the hook spot, so we got a better than average chance of that being the Kenatsu. 50-50 instead of the 33% chance. Alright, we're about to see what this other fight is. Gonna go back and safety save, which very smart move. Ooh, Water Hag.
Well, okay. Just three hits on Water Hag ends this.
So we had the choice of 4 bosses on this giant, and we ended up with the absolute luckiest possible roll of the 2 easiest ones being in these spots.
And you know what? This is a fairly free influx of experience as well. Okay, that hit was a little terrifying, but you know what? That's the only hit Water Hag got. It's fine.
And so we now know that both our runners essentially are in go mode at this point, because Water Hag is not a real boss in this case, meaning this has to be the Rosa, meaning that we're going to be seeing the Zeromus fight soon at a marathon length, 2.5 hours in. And this is it. There's the crystal. Both of our runners are going to have the pass, so it's just going to be a quick flight over and run down Troya.
We're sailing in style. We're sailing in grace. Nope, we're not sailing in grace anymore. We're putting down the lunar whale and we're getting our normal airship.
You know, I always love when people take the whale over to Troya for the paths and you just sort of land it half on the town. You gotta assume that whoever lives on the outskirts of Troya is just like, I really need to move to a better house at this point.
If there's someone like lands a giant spaceship on it, yeah.
Yeah, you get it for the big giant backyard, the forest view. You're hoping to see deer playing in the forest, and then just suddenly a giant space whale lands, but Lemon's going for it.
As Dragon does some last-minute menuing before she goes into her Z fight, and can we get... Well, I feel like there's a question we ask every time, but...
I really feel like there is. You know, I'm seeing all these flags in chat. Is it sleep time? Because, I mean, I could use a nap. I had to set my alarm for this race.
I think it may be time to ask whose butt we are going to kick. As you see, our good friend Zermus, a little bit too much to randomize in other places. So instead of like putting him into the boss pool, we have a different way of randomizing Zermus. What sprite he is using. And there's like a bajillion in the pool. So
there is 525 in the normal pool, plus one that I believe is not yet in the normal pool, all done by our wonderful Scala Kitty.
Well, Imperial's her first one into the fight. Let's see what, when she throws Crystal, we'll get to see who it is behind the mask. Oh no. Euphoric Lemon's stream seems to have exploded.
I feel like that's a good metaphor for how a lot of the seed has gone.
But we have Ghost Zombie Pirate LeChuck.
Yep, Chuckmas from the Monkey Island series.
And that's a fast shake. This is we're already off to a
very worrying start.
Yeah. Get that Yane Berserk. Watch Yane do all the damage.
Oh, you do not want that counter nuke necessarily to land on that Palom there. I think he's actually going to lose his Palom for that, which is unfortunate because that was also who she had thrown the Star Veil.
No, Palom will survive just because of his gear and the fact that that first Big Bang was nerfed.
Oh, I'd actually thought she'd missed the nerf, which I thought that, but very good application of skill there. Nerfing is a very large skill part of this game that I have not at all mastered. I'm always in awe of people who can actually, do it properly. This is looking like a very, very stable and very fast fight, so very least gonna have that little bit after the long torment of the seed sort of playing with our runners today. And to quickly answer that question from Matthias in chat, Lemon has not finished. There was a little bit of a technical difficulty. We are working on it as best as we can, but right now, this is unfortunately what we have.
I don't think Ghost Pirate LeChuck is going to be around for much longer.
I really don't either. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen rocks already, honestly. I'm actually a little bit concerned about the Big Bang into rocks, although I don't think that rocks would even threaten this run at this point.
Honestly, would not threaten the Shane at all. And there's the Flash, there's the Bane, LeChuck miss. Well, he's been defeated again. And Imperial Dragon is the winner.
And we're still going to be having a little bit of a question mark on that for right now due to the technical issues we are currently working on as best as we can. Meanwhile, we're going to take a couple minutes here to work on getting Imperial in for an interview. Solaris in chat saying, or Restreamer today saying that we might need an admin review winner on this one as well, just due to those technical issues at the end. Thankfully, our runners local record their runs so we can go back and check. So this just being a Twitch issue will not compromise anything, just unfortunately means we won't be able to see that seed fight today.
I believe we're joined by Imperial Dragon. GG's.
Oh my gosh.
So do you just ran a marathon. How do you feel?
I am still catching my breath even after 15 minutes. This
Yeah, that was the longest seed I have seen on this tournament so far, and it did come down in the end to that choice that you had. So that's kind of the big question to me: is you had the choice between the Wyvern and the Giant. Why did you choose the Giant over the Wyvern at that point?
I've done Wyvern at that spot before. It's always been difficult for me, so I thought about it. I'm like, I know that Water Hag is still in the pool. I figured odds were if it was one of those, I should be able to get through it faster than I would the Wyvern. And I'm pretty sure I was right on that one.
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, of the 4 bosses left at that point, the Giant just happened to roll the 2 easiest ones of the pool, because there was still a Kenatsu out there, there was still the Alt Gauntlet out there, so definitely did end up being the right choice. And speaking of choices, the other question I had was, you had the rat tail, you had the hook, and you did go down and dive that Asura spot before turning in the rat tail, and I wanted to know what your thought process was there as well.
I was basically I was sort of at that point going, okay, what spots do I have? Because I knew I still needed more than one key item. So at that point, I was just trying to go through things in my head. To be honest, some of that order may full well have been random. It was just, I was trying to figure out the fastest I could go.
And we are joined as well by Euphoric Lemon. GG's to you as well on that very long and quite complicated seed.
Yeah, that was quite a seed, that's for sure. Sorry about the hydro at the end, my power went out. But yeah, that was quite a seed. That was a very long and arduous journey.
GG.
Yes, GG's to everyone involved.
Now, Lemon, I wanted to ask real quick a question that I had already asked Imperial, which is, at the end you had that choice between the Giant and the Wyvern fight. Why did you choose the Giant over the Wyvern at that point?
I felt more confident taking out the Giant, that it would be faster than the Wyvern. Than going to the moon, getting to the Wyvern, and potentially wiping, because I didn't have a solid anchor at that point, and the only replaceable, I had the Rosa, but that was after doing Giant, or the other option was a Fu, who wasn't really that good of an anchor, so I had kind of boxed myself into Giant, because there was no way I was going to take out Wyvern with that party, at least that's how it seemed to me.
Now, a question I wanted to ask both of you as well is just, what goes into your mind when you have that really long 2.5 hour long seed and you're still chasing down those things? Like, were you still fairly confident that the other was probably running into the same problems, or were you concerned that that was going to be any moment now, this is over? And I would like to start with Lemon on that one.
I thought for sure Imperial was ahead of me, especially when I full cleared the moon and everything was haunted, except for, like, I knew that Wyvern spot had to have something, but I had too much PTSD to go back to it. But it was getting, like, after the moon, that's when I really started to panic. I'm like, oh no, if they did that Wyvern, it probably has something, they could be close to being finished. But as it went on longer and longer, I'm like, okay, so they probably ran into the same Wyvern situation I did, so now it's just go run as fast as you can.
And same question to you, Imperial.
I was honestly, I'd been waiting since probably, I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm looking for is, but I was just waiting for the dot done, because that's what it feels like happens. I hit I get the dot done before I'm so used to not necessarily winning that I was just waiting for the dot done to hit.
And, that was an intensely close race to watch the end. Obviously, we're going to have the sort of admin review of that to double check the outcome. But I did want to say, GG's to both of you. That was an extremely well run race on both sides. It was obviously an incredibly long one, but very, very good for you. Starman, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
God, I don't know. But no, phenomenal work from both of you. Thank you for making it as close and exciting as it was at the end.
Oh, I hope everybody enjoyed it. That was quite a race. I hear you like white shirts. Oh my gosh, enough of those.
Light swords. I saw a lot of those.
Yeah, light swords and white shirts. Oh man. No, that was fun. So GG's, thank you to everybody. Imperial for being a great opponent, and then Starman on the comms, and Poss pressing the buttons, and Solaris for rolling one hell of a seed, that's for sure.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Well,
thank you both for joining us for this post-race commentary. Well, interview. Well, I do believe that'll do it for us, won't it, Nth?
It definitely will. And again, I want to echo that thank you to the Restream team behind the scenes, as well as, again, to both racers today for a very, very good show. And a reminder that our next race will be at 7 p.m. Eastern here on the Free Enterprise channel. Sorry, go ahead.
And who's that between?
That is between Lord Bob Bree and Plasma Kappa. I had to look it back up because I had closed my notes that I had on that already.
Okay. Well, with that, we're going to send you all off to do raids. Say hello to Symmetra, as they are doing more FE League practice. Lali-Ho League. I have been Starman, joined by Nth, and we wish you a good afternoon.